Sanjaya says, Na vrudha dharmamachare. Keeping something in the heart, I never do anything. Because I am not trying to cheat, I am not trying to pretend, I practice everything right. Whatever I feel good, I do that. I am not doing anything for the sake of others. That is how I try to cultivate bhakti. Bhaktya shastrat vedmi janardanam suddha bhavangatah. Because I am not trying to pretend anybody, because I am not trying to cheating anybody, my bhavam became pure, my heart became pure. Because there are no impurities at all. With you everything is impure, my friend. You are not having any amount of love towards Pandavas. Still you show as if you are really loving Pandavas, and as if a lead house has been prepared for Pandavas, you know. When Pandavas entered that house, the house was burnt. And Dhritarashtra thought, let their house and let them burn to ashes. After becoming that, let us drop, a few tears saying, I didn't know that, this is unfortunate, this is what happened. Let us pretend like that. He was not having any amount of love towards Pandavas. In so many occasions, it happened. This is what we call pollution in the heart. It is impurity in the heart. Hey Dhritarashtra, my heart became pure. Impurities have gone because of my righteous practices. Those practices I could do because I never tried to pretend anybody. Suddha bhavam gataha, then bhakti started sprouting in the heart. Bhaktya, then I started believing in Shastras. Just having devotion is not enough, my friends, to realize God. Some people think, what type of, any type of bhakti is good to realize God. Why should we practice Shastra? Why should follow Shastra? Shastra says something, devotion is needed. Real commitment is needed. If the real commitment is there, whatever we do with bhakti is enough to God. So many people say, it appears so logical. At the same time, it's so illogical. Because we don't know anything about the inner world. We started knowing very little about the inner world because the Shastra said something about it. Nobody so far has seen what soul is. Nobody so far has seen what the mind is. Nobody has so far seen what the indriyas, the senses are. Nobody has so far witnessed what the knowledge is. Did anybody see this? I'm sure no. Still we are talking a great deal about these things. This is what Vedanta, some people say, this is what Vedanta. We don't know anything about these things, still we talk a great deal about these things. That's why some fellow has given a wonderful definition to Vedanta. Of course, not in Krishna's dictionary, but somewhere else, The Vedanta is like trying to catch a black cat in a dark room by a blind person where it is not there. Which is not there. It is Vedanta. It appears so. We don't know anything about Atma, we don't know anything about the Manas, we don't know anything about the senses, we don't know anything about Jnana, we never have seen God. Why then we are talking about all these things, which you have never witnessed? This is something interesting, my friends. We are talking about these things because Vedas preached, Vedas revealed something about these things. We got very little about it from the Vedas, thus we started talking about them. When you learned something from Vedas, then follow what Vedas recommended to realize them. We call Vedas as Shastra. Just devotion is not enough. Devotion is good if it is following the Shastra. If it is going against to Shastra, then we never call it as devotion. It is selfishness we call. Or it is what you call the ego we call. Flow is good. Flow of water is good. But if it is in a canal, if it is comes out, if it is off the shore, then it's very dangerous. So, bhakti is there with me, my Dhritarashtra. You are also having bhakti, I am also having bhakti. When Krishna appeared in front of you, when he came as an ambassador, as a representative of Pandavas, Krishna once came to Dhritarashtra, gave his divine eyes and showed his universal form, just only to Dhritarashtra, not to others. Dhritarashtra has seen that. Dhritarashtra prayed a great deal, the universal form of Lord Krishna then. In spite of all that, he never called back his children, his sons from the war. He encouraged them to wage the war. That means what? He really didn't believe. Though he showed that he is having devotion, but his devotion is channelized towards his selfish motives. Nowadays we go to temples, especially to Tirupati. Some people say, no, every month I go to Tirupati Swamiji, every month, without fail, since 7 years. It's great. Some people since 10 years, some people since 20, 25 years. It's really good. But for what you are going? For my business sake. For my business sake, They going to God is good, but don't go to God for selfish ends. We think that God is foolish. He is ignorant. He didn't know anything about us. Still we go to God. It's a business deal, I give this to you, you give that to me. Then the deal is over. Some people still worse. I give you hair, you give me something. It is still worse. Now people are not supposed to do that. Why to ask? Don't you know that God knows everything? Don't you know that He is Sarvajna? He is Sarvavekta? He knows everything about all the beings. He knows in particular about every being. Yes, Sarvajna, Sarvavit. He is Sarvajna, knows anything about every person, and Sarvavit in particular about each and every object. When He is such a great one, then why should you ask? Go to Him and say, God, I am yours. God, I believe that you are mine. Keep me always happy, my Lord. That's enough. If He wants to keep you happy, He takes care of all your problems. Then He sets them to right. Then you are happy. Or you can tell Him, God, be happy. You be happy. If you want to be happy, He wants you to keep happy always. Because if you cry, He cries. Because He is highly compassionate. Sri Parasara Bhattar. Sri Parasara Bhattar's brother's son was there. Vedavyasa Bhattar was his son, right? He was having a son by name Vedacharya. He composed 16 slokas by name Kshama Shodasi. 16 slokas. There he argues with God. In one of his arguments he says, God, yes, I am ready. If you want to punish me, yes, I am ready. Oh, you are not afraid of my punishment? No, God. No. If I start punishing you, do you know what happens? Yes, my Lord. What happens? I'll cry. Are you ready for it? Yes, my lord. Oh, is it so? Yes, my lord. How dare you do? Then he said, my lord, you forgot your own nature, it seems. What's that? You know what happens? What happens? You will be crying, crying, crying. That is your foolishness, my lord. You forgot your own nature. You are Dayalu. You are the ocean of compassion. Compassion means not being able to tolerate the sorrows of others. If I start crying, by seeing me, you start crying. You never wanted to cry, right? So I give you an advice, my friend, take it. If you want to be happy, keep me always happy. If you want to keep me happy, just say, write off all my problems, all my sins. That's all. You can do that with a single stroke. Finish. Written off. Over. I am happy. By seeing me happy, you become happy, and you want that also always. Tadrastrar bhavatopi dukkhamatulam ghoram dayalo bhavet. So don't cry, my Lord, always. So keep me always happy. Tasmat tepi sukhaya. For your happiness, mat kritamidam sarvam tvaya kshamyatam. Just ignore all my sins and shower compassion towards me, my Lord. If you say the smaller thing with him, that's enough. He will take care of all your business. He takes care of your problems. He takes care of your job. He takes care of your health. He takes care of your relatives and friends and so on and so forth. Why we are not satisfied with that? We think that he didn't know anything, and we start telling him, we start giving him a big list. In the temple, they allow us to stay for half a minute maximum. Right from the time of entering till we come out of the temple, it will be half a minute, maximum 1 minute. Na? Half a minute only. That is the maximum time. Meanwhile, we open the list and just mugging the whole thing and yes, God, do this, give this, and do this, do this, do this. He gave you a chance to see his form. Enjoy that. Feel him within your heart. Make your heart his abode. And then that's enough. When he is here, he never wants his building to be spoiled. He never wants that his abode should be impure. He makes your heart pure. The moment it becomes pure, you are pure and you are good. You will be loved by the whole world. We want to drink so many things. We want to enjoy so many things. So better to keep him away from the heart. Don't do that. Keep him in the heart. But remember, realizing him in the heart is not just happens as you wish. It happens through a shastric way. Through a way as Veda recommended. Try to follow that. Dhritarashtra, though was believed in God, but not believed God in a Vedic way. He wanted to believe God in his own way, for his own sake, for the sake of his children. There again his abhimana, what you call that, putrabhimanam, totally covered him, and he was not able to realize God well. My king, pardon me, I also have devotion, but my devotion is in the way of Shastra. Bhaktya Shastrat Vedmi Janardanam. The result of knowing Shastra is realizing the presence of God in you, in him, in her, in that, in this, everywhere. I realized that. All this happened because I never tried to pretend others. And you always pretend others. That's why you couldn't realize. What we call this is dambha. Dambhika, what you call the hypocrisy. Right? I am not having that. Lord Krishna says, don't do that. Adambhitvam, whatever is there in the heart, be pure, be clear, be clean. Don't try to pretend others. This is the second quality which we have to practice. If you don't know, clearly say, I don't know this. If you know only this much, say, I know only this much. If you could do only one, do just one and be happy. Say, I don't know, number no. Say one and then fine. Society loves it. Good people like it. And God feels happy with you always. Then He allows you to do the next one. He gives you energy to do number 2, number 3, number 4. That's how He leads you. He said, I am here, my friend, to lead you always. Aham samudharta bhavami bhava dadami buddhiyogam yena mam upayantite. I give them knowledge. I be seated in their heart. I light, I lamp. I dispel the darkness. I give them a hand. I lift them up. When God promised in these many ways, and if you are not clean with your thought, if you are not, giving Him room to help you, then no, it's really bad. Lord Krishna says, the second quality you have to cultivate is adambhitvam. One is amanitvam, adambhitvam. These are steps, First, if you have the loyalty to others, then you will be cleaned from within your heart. Adambhitvam then comes. Then ahimsa. If dambham is there, we try to pretend and then we cause some damage to others. We try to do that. If somebody is doing japam, we want, he is doing much japam. I am not able to do this japam. So let him also get spoiled. Then I be happy. This is, it's a very dangerous tendency within human people. We can see this. Nowadays in the society, we do things under the banner of civilization. Civilization. Do you know what it is? Going to clubs, consuming alcoholic drugs, and eating whatever just they serve is the mark of civilization. If you go to a party, if they offer some sort of drink to enjoy, and if you say, I'm not habituated, you are still in BC, oh my God. For the sake of friends, for the sake of society, you have to taste it. Don't become addict for that. Everything in controlled manner is always good. No, he preaches Vedanta. When everything is in control, it's good. Man should taste everything, my friend. And after all, this life is for that. Be acquainted with everything and have control. When we start acquainted with it, how could we under our control? It takes us under its control. I think you must be tasting coffee every day. Our grandfathers never tasted coffee. Right? But today, at 6:30, at 7, if the coffee glass is not there, then the headache starts. It should come, that's all. Don't you think that it's an addiction? It is. I'm telling just for the sake of, I don't want to mention other things, that's why I say coffee. There are so many things like that. Right from coffee, there are so many things. Rather, you can drink milk, which is pure. We want to spoil the milk, then only we taste it. We drink it. Why to drop the dust in the milk and then drink? We don't know that. we are not able to accept fair things in a fair manner. Spoil, then enjoy. No, this is the tendency of human beings. This is something surprising tendency, a dangerous tendency rather. In olden days, mothers usually they feed children with either milk or morning they used to give a few oils for the sake of good health. Nowadays they stopped that. In the place, in Telugu they used to call it uggu. Uggu pettuta they call it, Annamacharya sang also uggu pettaro yamma, like that, Since then it was there. But in place of uggu, we started feeding them with coffee. This is uggu. Don't give food, doesn't matter. But if you won't give coffee, it's bad. That's how people start feeling. If I am addicted, I don't want to see other person with pure habits. Somehow or the other I should drag him to my level, then they won't blame on me. For my own sake I have to bring him down. Then I am happy, and for which I pose so many arguments. And we call it a civilization. I think you can check up so many habits like that. If someone purchases a TV, we feel it's a mark of a status in the society. If the other person is having a car, having similar car or an updated car is a mark of civilization. This is how people start thinking. The thought process has been totally changed. This is not to be there. This should be avoided, my friends. So, for which we hate others. If they don't do that, we hurt them with words. Or in spite of our words, if they are not convinced, we try to do something with hands. In spite of that, if they are not convinced, we started cursing him. He did this, he did so and so forth. With heart. Each one is called himsa. When a person is not habituated with something, why to impose something on him? Why to insist on him? Let him live like that. You can leave him like that. Imposing something, insisting on somebody is also a sort of himsa. Ahimsa is in three ways. Verbal himsa, violence. Verbal violence, physical violence, and mental violence. If you think bad about someone, it is mental violence. Manasika himsa we call. If you speak something to hurt others, it is vachika we call. If you do something physical, it is sharirika himsa. All these three types of himsa should be avoided. Whoever gives up this himsa, wherever he stays, people around him also feel happy of this. They start loving with each other. My friends, do you know in olden days, in gurukulas, in ashrams, people used to live with love, not only just human beings, even animals. Cow, a tiger, a lion, a peacock, a snake, a rat, a cat, all these type of animals used to live together in ashramas. There is an interesting story in Sri Ramayana. Nisakara was a great sage. Nisakara. Whenever he used to go to take a dip in the nearby river, all the animals used to follow him. In his entourage, there were so many different types of animals, cruel animals and sadhu animals. Both used to live together. No, because he was always observing ahimsa. So whoever lives with him also feel that ahimsa tattvam in their hearts. Tasya sannidhau himsatyaga. Even he must have come with a cruel heart to hurt him, but the moment he reaches him, when he enters his aura, there he avoids all sorts of insults. That means wherever he thinks that this is mine, if I think that this table is mine, so my ownership, what you call that ownership, no? If I think that from here up to here is my place, if it is the moment somebody enters this place, his feelings will be suppressed and my feelings will dominate on him. If I have good feelings, he will have good feelings. If I have bad feelings, he also will be having such feelings. If this myself has been expanded to a house, whoever enters that house will have such feelings as I have. If a state I feel is mine, whoever enters that state will have such feelings as I have. If a country, if I think that this is my country, whoever enters that country will have such feelings, But provided if this guy has very strong feelings, strong belief, strong practice, if it is good, others will become good. If it is bad, other becomes bad. You start practicing ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence with heart. Don't think bad about others. Somebody may be doing something bad. Show sympathy towards him. Here a question comes. If somebody is doing bad, how should we tolerate? We have to hurt them with our words. Don't do that. This is the type of hurting others, right? But hurting has different things, my friends. If a boy has stolen something from nearby house, and if you really want him to become good, then you have to pretend as if you are having anger towards him. Not because you are having anything against him, but you want to teach him something. So, Nana, don't do that. It's bad. It's wrong to do that. You should show as if you are not satisfied with him. And then thinks, oh, my mom is upset with me because I did this. Let me not do this from tomorrow. That's how he starts learning. But intentionally don't hurt anybody, either with heart, with mind, with word or physically. Stop doing that. Then you can cultivate ahimsa, non-violence. That you could do when you start developing sympathy towards others. If it is your son did something wrong, because you are sympathetic towards him, you start teaching him teaching good, then he becomes good. It's the same with anybody. If anybody in the world around is doing something bad, or if he is doing damage to you, don't become angry. And just tell him good. Teach him good. Convince him with good. If he doesn't care, then slowly just show or don't do this. Just to stop him. You try to stop him in a way as he learns when you have sympathy towards him. Krishna says, this is the third quality which you have to cultivate. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa. Then you have to cultivate kshanti. Let us try to learn about the other one of them. Here is the fourth quality what Krishna mentions. Kshanti. Kshanti is tolerance. This is very, very, very important quality. If you cultivate ahimsa, then you will have tolerance. Rama was able to tolerate because he was had kshanti. The tolerance he has because he cultivated ahimsa. Vedanta Desika, in one of his verses, very interestingly mentions a nice thing. He said, he was discussing about the incarnations of Lord. Tasyai nama sattama bhumikayi. I prayed before the seventh incarnation of Lord. What is that? What was the seventh incarnation? Rama. Why? He says in a sloka, Akokilam asu vidhatu murvim apakachalam amaram saktum sektaha. Rama was able to eliminate all the kokilas from the world. Do you know kokila? What do you call that? Kokila? Kuku. Kuil. Kuil in Angal, right? Kuil. Rama wanted to eliminate all the kuils from the world. He wanted to. But still, just he tolerated them. And again, Rama wanted to see the end of all the devatas. Still, he tolerated them. Rama wanted to dismantle the kitchen of devatas. Still he tolerated. Because he was having kshanti, kshama, one of wonderful qualities. Because he was having that kshama quality, the kshanti, a great quality, devatas were having kitchen for food and kokilas are able to survive on this earth. Do you know how it is possible? Do you know why he says so? Acha, I will explain to you. How kokilas are living, quails. How they grow. Do you know that? Oh. This is an interesting story about the quail. No? Quail lays eggs, but she doesn't know how to grow them. Hatching, no? What you call it? Hatching? She doesn't know how to hatch her own egg. It seems she for a crow. She searches for a crow's nest. Crow also lays similar eggs. A lady crow. When she lays eggs, then it is very interesting. One crow will stand guard for the eggs and other crow will grow for food. When the other crow comes, then the crow which is standing guard will go for food. This is what happens. So one crow will definitely be there protecting the eggs. This quail, the lady quail, after laying eggs, it will be waiting for the time. When the male crow goes, when the lady crow is standing guard for the eggs, then it goes there, then she goes there and she, makes something so the crow comes out. The male crow, not the female crow. The male quail does something so that the female crow comes away from this nest. When the female crow goes away from the nest to drive away that male quail, then the female quail goes there, removes those eggs and it puts its eggs there. Ladies, my God. We can't say how brilliant they are. Kalidasa, in one of his verses says, Strinam asikshita patutvam amanusishu sandrusyate. Ladies' brilliance is unimaginable. Even in birds. Then what to say about The human beings who are highly educated, then what to say about them? Oh my God. I'm not talking to anybody of you people. You are really good. You are really nice. I'm talking about other. This is the lady Quail. What she does. So Rama allowed those quails to live on the earth. Do you know how? If Rama would have killed a crow, there won't be any crows on the earth. If there are no crows on the earth, quails never grow. Because a quail doesn't know how to grow, and she needs a crow. And if Rama killed all the crows, then no quails will be there. Kakasura Vrittantam. The Jayanta, Indra's son, came in the form of a crow and hurt our divine mother Sita in her chest. In spite of that, because Rama was having that kshanti, that kshama gunam with him, then he said, go, with a single eye. Just he removed one eye with the Brahmastram he used, and he allowed that hello to survive on the earth, because of which quails are available now. You are able to ilku in the morning. This is one, shows the greatness of Rama, the kshanti gunam of Rama. And the other incident is this. Do you know how devatas are surviving? What is the food for devatas? Didn't you know? For us, we eat rice, wheat and fruits and flowers and so on and so forth. What is the food for devatas? Amruta. They drink only amruta. Whoever goes to Swargaloka, they give a spoonful of amrutam by which they are satisfied. I don't know when they churned that amrutam, but still that amrutam is there. We don't know how stale it is, but still it is there, If that is exhausted, the present stock is exhausted, again they have to churn the sea. When they churn the sea, there comes amrutam, which is the food for them, for all the persons in the Swargaloka. But one day, you know what happened in the history of Rama? Rama became very furious against Samudra. When he wanted to cross through the sea, he consulted Vibhishana. What is the way to cross this ocean? Then immediately Vibhishana said, because he just being a demon was saved by Rama because he surrendered to him. Surrenderance is the wonderful, is the way. Rama, come on, surrender to sea. You will get the reply. That is the suggestion given by Vibhishana. Rama said, hey, it's nice. Come on, let me surrender to the Sagara. Vibhishana said, Sagaram Raghavo Rama Saranam Gantum Arhasi. Yes, I do this. Then Rama started doing that. He laid darbhas and he laid on them for 3 days without food, without a sip of water. But Samudra didn't turn. He didn't show his face. Then Rama became upset and said, hey Lakshman, this Samudra is thinking that I am incapable. I will show my valor. I will show my ability. Chapamanaya Saumitre Sagaram Soshaishyami Padbhyam Yantu Plavangama. Let all the monkeys, let all the Vanaras just go on foot let them reach on foot to Lanka. I will see there will be no drop of water on this earth. I dry the whole seas. That was the anger of Rama. Then immediately Samudra has come and said, oh Rama, what is this? You took an incarnation of man and just treating just like a man. What is this? This is not right, Rama. You are the one who gave me some rules and restrictions. You gave me a code of conduct how to deal in this world. And you said you shouldn't cross through the shore. And I am like that. Now today, you are asking me to cross through this, to cross through my border, my line, my shore. Is it fair on your part to say so? Because of you only, Rama, I am like this. Come and tell me what I have to do. Because you already have given some rules and regulations. Not violating them, tell me something, I will do that. You know how obedient they are. Then, of course, it is a story part. Rama excused